Yo, what's going on guys, it is Fox290 here, welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today on my channel. Today we're back with my F1 2016 Career Mode Season 6 Part 18, I believe this is now, for the USA Grand Prix. If you do enjoy today's video, don't forget to drop a like on it, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And as you can see, Red Bull have made an upgrade to their chassis weight and reduced the drag on their car. Haas have improved their fuel consumption, reduced the chassis weight and reduced the drag on their cars. And as you can see, looking at the vehicle performance comparison charts, Red Bull have now gained a little bit of an advantage, but you can see that Haas have jumped McLaren, Renault and Force India in the vehicle performance comparison chart, so very strong stuff there. Moving on then into the constructor standings, you can see the gap is 42 points between myself and Williams, and in the driver's standings, things have closed down quite considerably, with the gap between myself and Valtteri Bottas now just 46 points with 4 races to go. Yeah, things are getting quite tight. Unfortunately, if you guys haven't seen the last 2 episodes, you can see those 2 results there on your screens right now. Unfortunately, we crashed out in Malaysia thanks to contact between myself and Nico Rosberg, and unfortunately the team just gave me one of the worst strategies ever in the world in Japan, and it meant that we came home in 12th, and for the past 2 races we haven't scored any points. Luckily for myself now, we are at a track which I love driving, which is USA. I really love this track a lot. It's up there as my favourite tracks, alongside Italy, Belgium, Bahrain and Singapore. I'd say they're my favourite tracks overall. Yes, I did say Singapore is my favourite tracks. I absolutely love Singapore so much. So, yeah, but today we've got a focused Fox day. This is the day where I remain focused and I just get my head down. We've covered the 2 bogey tracks now. They're out of my way. I don't need to worry about them anymore. There's nothing we can do. Now we need to focus on a track which I know I'm good at and try and get a race win and try and get back on form. And more importantly, try and get the team impressed, because if you guys didn't see the last episode, we are down in the red in a team performance, and that has forced Emma to give us a phone call to say that the team are not happy with our recent form and they need improvements. Into Q1 then, a very positive sign as we actually qualified fastest in Q1, and that's very good for us. We needed that, and we qualified in front of the 2, it was Mercedes-Williams. Into Q2 then, you can see it's starting to become a lot more overcast, and there was forecasted for rain in Q3, but as you can see here, we don't need to worry about that. We come across the line and set a 135.8, which was quicker than Valtteri Bottas, I only think by a couple of hundredths, so it's been a very close qualifying between myself and Williams. Yeah, it was 8 100ths of a second between myself and Valtteri there, so very close qualifying as I believe Max Verstappen there qualifying on softs and getting knocked out in Q2, so not a good result there for him. Into Q3 then, as you can see, it is intermediate conditions just like I expected it to be, and Rosberg goes and sets the fastest lap of 151.6, but coming across the line, I'm going to set a 150.9 and absolutely stuff that lap time from Rosberg, and that is brilliant from us. And as you can see, we qualified on pole position, a brilliant way to start off this weekend with Valtteri Bottas just 2 tenths behind me, but we qualified a full 7 tenths quicker than Rosberg in the intermediate conditions, which is absolutely fantastic, and my pace in the inters was very, very quick, and that's actually quite lucky because, as you can see, for the race now, it's intermediate conditions, and it's going to stay like that for the whole race. But looking at the grid then, we've got myself in pole, Bottas second, Rosberg third, Massa fourth. Then the 2 Ferraris line up 5th and 6th, followed by the McLaren of Alonso with Daniel Ricciardo. Gutierrez getting into the top 10 with Button in 10th, Perez and Hulkenberg rounding up that row for Williams. Verstappen and then Magnussen, Grosjean, Palmer, Ericsson, Nasser, 2 Toro Rossos, nope, 1 Toro Rosso and a Manor, then the other Toro Rosso, and then the Manor, and that's how the grid lines up for today's USA Grand Prix, or the American Grand Prix, or United States American Grand Prix, whatever you want to say, I don't really care. But there you can see intermediate conditions for the whole race, and that prompted me to lower my fuel loads quite considerably, as I knew I wouldn't need to be running into rich mixture that long. Little tip for you guys, if you are in a race, a 50% race especially, and it is going to be a wet race for the whole duration, you definitely want to be going on a much lower fuel load, as it will counter a lot of wheel spin, because you won't be needing to run in rich fuel mixture really at all in a race. Yeah, you'll be fine on that front. But onto the grid now here for the US Grand Prix. Perfect starting position here on pole. And it is lights out, here we go here for the US Grand Prix. It's been a bad start for us actually. Rosberg and Bottas with much quicker starts off the line there. Bottas flies into the lead as we head towards turn 1 here. And into turn 1 we actually break very late against Valtteri Bottas. Round the outsides here of Valtteri. It's going to make us run wide a little bit, but we're going to get a better exit side by side with Valtteri, who tucks in behind us. So he survived an early scare there off the start with Bottas and Rosberg getting better starts. But look at that, top 4 flying through these complex of corners right now. And we're already pulling away from the rest of the field. So the top 4 flying through as there's some yellow flags behind. I thought it might have prompted a safety car, but it never actually did. So through these sections of corners now, time to get used to these intermediate conditions. We haven't had any running of intermediate conditions apart from Q3. That's when I've had running in the intermediate conditions around this track. There was no intermediate conditions in practice. As you can see, there's someone stuck in the S section. So again, should have prompted maybe a safety car, but it didn't, and the green flags are back, and we can get back racing in that sector. As you can see now, it is myself versus Bottas versus Rosberg versus Massa. Button is very close to this as well in the McLaren, but he'll probably drop back in the next 10 seconds because he's crap. Jokes, don't bully me for that. That was just, you know, the car was rubbish, not the driver. Yeah, cool. On to lap 2 of the Grand Prix now. Things going very well for us here. We're starting to get pretty comfortable in this Grand Prix. Round the final corner we come, and we're going to go and set the fast lap of the race so far, a 1:53.3, and we've got a 1.2 second gap over Valtteri Bottas, who has got a 0.4 of a second gap over Nico Rosberg. So Rosberg keeping close eye on Valtteri Bottas in these early stages of the race, but we just need to keep doing what we're doing. On to lap 5 of the Grand Prix now, and again, we're starting to really pull away in this Grand Prix, and I was feeling extremely comfortable as we go round the final corner here, and we're going to go and set yet another fastest lap of the race so far on the 1:53.3. 2.7 seconds is now the gap between myself and Bottas. He did actually close the gap by a 1/10 of a second in that final sector, but it is not to worry as we can continue onwards. On to lap 14 of the Grand Prix now. Nothing is happening in this Grand Prix at all. And around these complex this very, actually not really a complex set of corners, it's a very fun set of right-handers, and now into this left-hander, second to last corner. We're now going to be coming in for our first pit stop on exactly the halfway mark here at this US Grand Prix. So taking these intermediate tyres exactly halfway through the race, and then we're going to be pitting, obviously, for a fresh set of inters. We'll do the next half of the race. So perfectly planned out there as we're coming in for our pit stop right now here. Going and fitting on a brand new set of tyres and coming out of the pits, I think just in front of Valtteri, so we didn't get held up by him as he was making his way into the pits. So you can see that we've got a full pit stop basically in front of Valtteri Bottas. So as soon as we exited the pits, he was coming in for his pit stop. So yeah, very nice stuff there from us. As you can see now, in towards the very uphill section of turn 1. Massa gets in front of us, but he hasn't stopped yet. Kimi Raikkonen behind. Bottas is there as well also. So we now need to catch up to Felipe Massa. Unfortunately, for this entire career mode, Felipe Massa's dot has never been there. So I don't actually know where Massa is. I can see he's straight in front of us there, but if he was further ahead, I wouldn't have a clue, because the only dot on my minimap is Nico Rosberg. On to the next lap now. Rosberg has pitted for his next set of tyres. However, Felipe Massa has not. He's decided to stay out a little bit longer on this first set of tyres and give him some slightly fresher intermediates come the end of the race, which might be a good call here. But we are going to now try and attack Felipe here, getting a little bit out of shape as we come towards this S section now, really making our way through these tight sets of corners, making sure we get it all sorted here. We've got a great run on Felipe, actually, a very nice run here. Purple in the first sector by nearly 0.4 of a second now as we're braking nice and late through this uphill section. You can see we're closing on Felipe all the time here, and it is inevitable that we are going to get this move done here. We've got super drive now through this corner, and we might just make a move on Massa. No, back end really stepped out on us there, and we're going to have to wait for some slipstream to get this job done here on Felipe. But we actually got an insane drive out of that corner and straight past Massa before the DRS board even came up. So a cracking move there. Really great exit, and that is just proving right there the difference between fresh intermediates versus old intermediates. I kept the clip going. Massa managed to not get the move done back on the straight. Maybe I would have thought his Williams straight line speed car would give him a bit more power and a bit more grunt down the straight. But luckily for me, it didn't, and as you can see, we are now 0.6 of a second quicker in the middle sector as we really are pushing on this lap. But as kind of expected, we've got fresh intermediates and we've got slightly lower fuel, so we're expected to set some quicker lap times here as we start coming around these right-handers now, and we've basically got this race in the bag. It's been a very quiet race for me, and I'll take it. I've had lots of action-packed Grand Prix which have ended in chaos. Yeah, as we're coming around the final corner now, Massa does dive into the pits, and we go and set a 1:52.3 for the fastest lap of the race here on lap 17 of this US Grand Prix, nearly said Mexican, whoops. As we're coming towards turn 1, and here on lap 17, we are going to go, I believe, even faster than we did before. So once again, really still ranking up these fastest laps here, and just ever so gradually building this gap up. Rosberg has dropped a long way off Valtteri Bottas. He was very close to him, but But the field is all spread out as we go and set a 151.9 with the gap between myself and Bottas 8.4 seconds. And the gap between myself and gap between Bottas and Rosberg 10.4. So I'm not sure how that's occurred. On to lap 28 of the Grand Prix, on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, I'm afraid, guys. This might have been, there's a yellow flag there into turn 1, and it's Sebastian Vettel's out of the race. That's a great shame for Vettel, isn't it? I don't even like Vettel anyway, so stuff you, you're out. This is a very strange camera angle. It's almost like a spectatorship cam there, looking through the fence there, and then into turn 2 we go. It is an engine failure, and I'm pretty sure all the British crowd will be absolutely buzzing at that one, because Vettel has basically made himself look like a knob. But anyway, yeah, that was, I'm not going to lie to you guys. That was the most unactive and one of the most boring Grand Prix I have ever raced in my life. Nothing happened. From the first lap, we take the win though, which is massive for us because we've had 2 shocking races. We needed that win. I don't care that it was a boring race and we won the Grand Prix. I just had to win. I don't care if it was a boring race. I don't care if it was an active race. As long as I came home first, that's all I was proud about. But I'm not going to lie, I started the race, I led every single lap, apart from when we came into the pit stops, of course, because we had to, because some drivers didn't make their stop straight away. We basically led every single lap and were just unchallenged, and quite frankly, I was running out of music in my playlist to actually bother to listen to, because it got to the point where I was just getting so bored that I literally started playing music from lights out, and quite frankly, I nearly got to the end of my playlist, which would have been awkward, because then I would have had to go on repeat on my songs, and that would have made me even more bored. But nevertheless, boring race or great race, we've got what we needed, and that was a race win here. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the episode nonetheless. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you're new around here as well. The champagne flies, and we are back on the podium after a 2-race absence. Next up is the Mexican Grand Prix, which is a track that I don't think in all my 5 seasons, really, because I haven't done it for the 6th time, I don't think I've ever won there before. So that's going to be kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever won a career mode race around Mexico. I'm going to have to check my videos back, but I don't think I have, unless maybe Red Bull. But of course that was awkward because the regatta cut out. But anyway, in the driver's standings, the gap is down 53 points between myself and Valtteri Bottas, so increasing that lead, which is exactly what we need to do with 3 races to go now. So if we can get... basically, if we can basically beat Bottas in the next race, we are world champion. That is how it's going to work. So if we can beat Bottas, if the gap remains over 50 points, we're world champion. So we can take it in the next race in Mexico. So that'll be very interesting. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Once again, if you have enjoyed it, drop a like on the video. It'd be absolutely awesome if you could. Don't forget to click that subscribe button as well. That would mean a lot and help the channel grow a lot more. And yeah, that's kind of all from me. Looking at the resource points then, all coming on through. And then we're going to get into the driver position in which we do increase and go back into the green, which is crucial. That's going to make Mercedes happy. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Next up is the Mexican Grand Prix. And as you can see there, all the way up to 8th now. Perfect. That's exactly what we need. So, yeah. I'll see you guys for the Mexican Grand Prix next time out. Thanks for watching all. Take care. Peace.